Today's lesson is fat, friendly, and fun. Interesting beliefs about orange cats. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to be talking about an animal that you might have as a pet. We're going to talk about cats, but specifically, we're going to talk about orange cats. You guessed it, cats that are the color orange.
That's right, and you might have seen them around. You might even have one yourself. They're just as lovely as other cats, but as we're going to learn in our article both today and tomorrow, they're a little bit different than other cats. Sure, they're friendly. Sure, they like to take naps and have snacks. But orange cats have some very unique characteristics. Have you ever had an orange cat there, Roger?
Yeah, my parents did. His name was Oliver, and he was very friendly, and he was very fat, so he kind of fits the stereotype that we have of orange cats today. Boy, he could purr up a storm as well if he was happy. You just pet him, kind of rub him under his chin. He was just in heaven and would be purring away. So, yeah, orange cats are fat, they are friendly, and they're also fun. And if you're thinking about getting a cat as a pet, you ought to consider getting an orange cat. So let's talk about them today. Let's listen to the first part, and we'll be right back.
Fat, friendly, and fun. Interesting beliefs about orange cats. Has anyone ever told you that orange cats are fatter than other cats? There's even a meme. 9 out of 10 orange cats are fat, and the other is even fatter. Of course, that's clearly meant to be humorous, but is there actually any truth to it? All right, so as we get into our article, fat, friendly, and fun. That's kind of 3 words you can often use to describe many types of cats, certainly, but orange cats in particular. And it's interesting beliefs about orange cats. So things that people believe, things that have been sort of handed down to us through folklore and stuff like that. There will be some science here in the article. So we're not just talking about myths and fables about orange cats. We're going to kind of get into some of the science of why they are so unique and different. So let's get to it. We're starting off here with a question. Has anyone ever told you that orange cats are fatter than other cats? Well, that's just not very nice, but now I think about it, most of the orange cats that I've known have been on the slightly fatter side of the scale. Not hugely obese, not looking like walking footballs or something like that, but certainly chubby. I would use a politer word, chubby, than fatter, chubbier than other cats. And I've never heard this one. There's even a meme, even sort of a commonly shared little bit of poem, as they're saying here, or maybe a little saying, as some people would share around on the internet. So there's a meme. You might have seen this or heard people say it. 9 out of 10 orange cats are fat, and the other is even fatter. That just sounds a little bit cruel, but basically they're saying 100% of orange cats are fat, and 90% of them are fat, and the other 10% are really, really fat, or maybe obese, to use a more technical term for very, very overweight.
Exactly, and I think that's probably true. There's even a stray cat in my neighborhood that's, well, he's half orange and half white, and he's bigger than most stray cats. So maybe orange cats have some sort of genes or something that make them fat or something like that.
Maybe they just love junk food.
Could be. They find juicy rats to eat and bugs and things like that. They keep themselves nice and plump. So that's a meme here. I hadn't heard of that myself either. Of course, that's clearly meant to be humorous, but is there actually any truth to it? So here we've got the phrase, to be meant to be a certain way. So the intention behind this is not to be mean to cats. It's just for fun. It's just humorous. Probably all orange cats are not fat. A lot of them are, but they probably mostly aren't. But it's still just for fun, and it makes people laugh. But still, is there some truth to this statement? We'll find out as we continue our lesson. Here comes the second part.
Well, sort of. One thing that's definitely true about orange cats is that the vast majority, around 80%, are male. This surprising fact comes down to genetics. The gene responsible for orange fur is found on the X chromosome. Since male cats only have one X chromosome, they need only one copy of the gene to be orange. Female cats have 2 X chromosomes, so they need 2 copies of the gene, which makes orange females much rarer. And of course, male cats are larger, on average, than female cats. So, orange cats should generally be larger than cats of other colors.
大家好。第二部分介绍片语 come down to 加名词，指归结为某个原因，也可以是追根究底在于……例如 The key to success comes down to a lot of hard work and a little luck. 成功的关键取决于多加努力和一点运气。或者 Because they are equally good skaters, this competition will likely come down to luck. 因为他们是一样优秀的滑冰选手，所以这次比赛最后可能取决于运气。另外补充它的同义片语 boil down to something. Boil, B-O-I-L, boil down to something. 意思是形式或是问题归结为……或是主要原因在于……例如 Tina knew that the reason her friend insulted her probably boiled down to jealousy. Tina 认为她朋友侮辱她的原因或许是出于嫉妒。再看一个句子 Whether we go on vacation this year or not boils down to the amount of money I receive for my yearly bonus. 我们今年是否去度假，取决于我得到的年度奖金有多少。接下来介绍名词 genetics， 指遗传学，也可以是基因组成或是遗传特征。例如 The genetics of this plant allow it to survive in dry climates. 这种植物的基因组成使其能在干燥的气候中生存。或者 Some diseases are influenced by genetics as well as environment. 有些疾病受到遗传与环境的共同影响。另外补充相关名词 gene, G-E-N-E, gene, 意思是基因。例如 A problem with a single gene can result in a variety of health problems. 单一基因的问题可能导致各种健康问题。或者 Genes influence the color of our eyes and hair. 基因影响我们眼睛和头发的颜色。继续看到名词 chromosome 表示染色体。例如 Chromosome mapping helps researchers locate genes related to specific traits. 染色体定位能帮助研究人员找出特定特征相关的基因。
All right, well, let's get back to it. So we just talked about how 9 out of 10 orange cats are fat and the other is even fatter. That's a humorous meme, but is there actually any truth to it? Even though it's funny, it makes us laugh. Is it sort of accurate in some kind of way? Well, as we get to the next part of the article, it says, well, sort of. It is a little bit true. It is funny, of course, but there could actually be some truth behind that meme that orange cats in general are a little bit heavier than other cats. And then we go on to read one thing that's definitely true about orange cats is that the vast majority, around 80%, are male. Well, that's already an interesting fact there. So if you see an orange cat, there's an 80% or an 8 out of 10 chance that it's a boy cat. It's a male cat. So that is kind of unusual. If something is definitely true or definitely, it's 100%. It is very, very, there is no doubt there. There is no question there. I am definitely going to your party. You can count on it. You can trust me. You can believe me. Or if you look outside and see a lot of gray clouds and hear thunder, I think it's probably safe to say it's definitely going to rain soon. 100%, no doubt about it. So it is 100% or there's no doubt that there's truth about the fact that orange cats, the vast majority of them, are boy cats. And so vast is a word that can mean a lot of different things. It means very, very big in a very general term. We could talk about Russia being a vast country or the Pacific Ocean being vast in size. It's really, really big. When we talk about a vast majority, we're saying much more than 50%, right? A majority is 50% plus 1, the bigger half, the bigger portion of something if we're dividing it up. But a vast majority, yeah, then we're going to be talking about, as the article says, 80%, 90%, not 100%, but definitely the larger part, the much larger part, because vast is very, very large. So 80%. Yes, that would be a vast majority of people. If 80% of people choose one thing and 20% choose the other, the vast majority chose the 80%. And percent, as most people know, is just a value out of 100. It's a way of measuring size in relation to other things or something like that. And of course, that mathematical symbol is two circles with a diagonal line between them. So 80%, 8 out of 10, or 80 out of 100 of the orange cats that you see are boy cats.
I've heard the opposite is true of tortoise-shell cats, the cats that sort of have different colors all over their fur.
Orange, white, brown kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a stray cat in my neighborhood that is female. So yeah, tortoise-shell cats are mostly female.
Interesting.
Whereas orange ones are mostly male. I also wanted to add that generally speaking, male cats are friendlier than female cats. So if you want to have a friendly, affectionate cat, you're better getting a male one, although it's not always true. Sometimes male cats can be quite mean as well. Now, this surprising fact comes down to genetics, okay? Genetics just have to do with genes. They're in your DNA, and you inherit these things from your parents. And yes, this particular color scheme and the fact that they are mostly male is due to genetics.
The gene responsible for orange fur is found on the X chromosome. Okay, so here we're getting into the science. This is not a meme. This is not folklore. This is actual fact here. So the gene responsible for orange fur, in the same way that humans have genes that are responsible for the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, how tall you are, things like that. So in cats, they have certain genes, and yes, here we're talking about DNA and the building blocks of life, that kind of thing, the things that are passed on from the parents to the children and so forth. So the gene that is responsible, that causes the orange fur, is found on the X chromosome. Okay, so again, a scientific word, a chromosome. Well, this is something that takes us back to biology class. It's a thread-like structure of nucleic acids and protein found in the nucleus of most living cells. This is what basically carries the genetic information in the form of genes. So when we talk about how, oh, that family is all very tall, or my friend's family, they all have red hair, we're talking about the chromosomes that are in their family, and probably similar chromosomes in their parents, grandparents, and then in their children and grandchildren later on. So in the X chromosome, we find this orange fur characteristic, and of course that goes through the male line more frequently than it does the female line, hence the 80%. So the males have the X and the Y chromosomes, and then as we read, female cats have 2 X chromosomes, so they need 2 copies of the gene, which makes orange females much rarer because generally they are born XX, so having 2 orange X's, I guess we could sort of say, is less likely than having 1 X and 1 Y, which doesn't have to be in order to carry that orange fur trait. And of course, male cats are larger on average than female cats. Here we are going to another sort of explanation, another reason why orange cats could be male and could be kind of chubby. Male cats, and of course, yes, most orange cats are male, are generally larger, right? Often in nature, we find that with most types of animals, the male of the species is larger than the female. That's generally true, especially with mammals. And on average, they are larger than female cats in the same way that male humans are often larger than females. So orange cats should generally be larger than cats of other colors because most of them are boy cats. So kind of makes sense.
It certainly does. So there you have it, a brief explanation as to why orange cats are mostly male and why a lot of people think orange cats are fatter. Well, simply because most of them are male. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's listen now to the third and final part.
Another reason some orange cats might be chubbier is their temperament. Studies suggest that they tend to be friendlier than other cats. This friendliness might make them more likely to beg for and receive food from humans, which could help them pack on the pounds.
第三部分看到形容词 chubby， 它的意思是胖嘟嘟的或是丰满可爱的。例如 Despite its chubby appearance, the cat was surprisingly quick on its feet. 尽管外表看起来胖嘟嘟的，但这只猫的动作却出奇的敏捷。也可以说 Everyone loves Teddy's chubby cheeks. 大家都很喜欢 Teddy 胖嘟嘟的脸颊。再来介绍名词 temperament， 表示性格、气质或是性情。我们可以说 A surgeon needs a steady hand and a calm temperament under pressure. 外科医生需要在压力下有一双稳定的手和冷静的性格。又或者说 That horse has a nervous temperament, so try not to make any sudden moves. 那匹马的性格很容易紧张，所以尽量不要忽然做出动作。接着看到 pack on the pounds 这个片语，它的意思是增加体重或是变胖。例如After quitting the gym, Jason quickly packed on the pounds. Jason 停止去健身房后，体重很快就增加了。最后一个例子 It's easy to pack on the pounds during the holidays with all the delicious food. 在节日期间吃了太多好吃的东西，很容易变胖。
Okay, here in the third part it says, another reason some orange cats might be chubbier is their temperament. Okay, you used this word earlier, chubby. That's kind of a polite way of saying someone is slightly overweight. Fat is kind of rude, and it's kind of mean to say someone is fat. A polite way would be to say, oh, you're kind of chubby. You're a little fatter than average. You're not obese, but you're just a little fat. And we're saying that the other reason why some orange cats are chubbier is because of their temperament. Your temperament is basically your personality, the way you behave, your general behavior in life. Do you have a mild temperament? Are you a person who doesn't get angry easily? Or are you kind of hot-tempered where you get angry easily if somebody says the wrong thing? Oh, you blow up. You become a firecracker.
Boy, all right. So the last paragraph is kind of talking about the biological reasons why orange cats might be chubbier. And here we're talking about more of the behavioral reasons. And temperament does also relate to your behavior, your mood, the kind of person you are, and as Roger said, your personality. So what is it about orange cats and the way they behave and the way they interact with humans and stuff that might lead them to be slightly heavier, fatter, or chubbier? It says studies suggest that they tend to be friendlier than other cats. So orange cats generally are quite friendly compared to other cats, and certainly in my personal experience, I think that holds up. I've met several orange cats. I've had an orange cat, and yeah, they're definitely friendly cats. I mean, many cats can be, but orange cats may be slightly friendlier and slightly more welcoming to strangers into their home than other cats who might kind of run off and hide. So they're friendly cats. Well, how would that lead to their weight? This friendliness might make them more likely to beg for and receive food from humans. Very smart, which could help them pack on the pounds. I wonder if we can also say that orange cats are more intelligent than other cats because they're very good at manipulating and using people in order to get snacks and tasty treats out of them, which may, yes, lead to their rather larger size. But yes, this friendliness, they're rubbing up against your leg and purring and jumping onto your lap and hanging around when you're eating French fries or something tasty that certain cats might find absolutely delicious and maybe even more delicious than their normal cat food. So this friendliness, this sociability, that would be a fancy word for friendliness, means that they're more likely to beg for and, because they're so cute, receive the food from humans. Because, of course, cats can beg, but if you don't give them the snack, they're not going to put on the pounds. But if you do give in because of that cute little face, that cute little orange face, and give them that little snack, they'll definitely benefit and they will definitely get heavier, or as it says there, they will pack on the pounds. That's just another way of saying getting heavier, getting fatter, eating too much and not burning off those calories. A lot of people might talk about certain holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Chinese New Year. Oh, I always pack on the pounds. I always end up 3 kilograms heavier after Christmas or Chinese New Year. Or people might go on certain holidays. I like to go on cruises because I can pack on the pounds. Or athletes actually might use this term. If you're getting ready for a big competition, they might pack on the pounds or something. Put on some extra body weight by eating higher calorie foods. In some cases, it's okay. In some cases, it's to be avoided. And in some cases, like with the orange cats, well, that's just who they are.
Yes, it could help them get fat, to put on the pounds, etc. There are different ways to say that somebody has filled out. They've gotten fatter. And, of course, here in Taiwan, people always like to remind you if you've gotten fatter, so that's good. Then that will remind you to go on a diet or get more exercise or something like that. I did want to say that this might be a disadvantage for orange cats because if they trust people too easily, well, they might get hurt or even abused or something like that. So, yeah, sometimes being too friendly can cause harm to you. But for the most part, people do like friendly cats, and they feed them more, and they pet them more. And, of course, orange cats are desired by a lot of people. You did have an orange cat before, right, Mike?
I did, yes.
And he was friendly, right?
He was a very friendly cat, and he was a bit heavy. He was heavy when we got him. We tried to kind of control his weight, and certainly didn't give him a lot of snacks, but he was just kind of a chunky, chubby boy. But a very friendly, chunky, chubby boy.
Yeah, my daughter said also, because they're so friendly, they come off as being kind of dumb. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes our beloved cat-loving Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分提到，绝大多数橘猫大约 80% 是公的。接着有一句提到，导致橘色毛的基因存在于 X 染色体上。文中是用 the gene responsible for orange fur 来表达导致橘色毛的基因。这个 gene 后面它是省略了 which is。好，那我们要整理一下 be responsible for 的相关用法。首先它可以表达负责掌管什么什么，对什么什么负有全责，它不带有负面的语义，像是Who's responsible for organizing the event this year? 今年是谁负责筹划那场活动的呢？好，那第二个它可以表达对什么负有责任，可能是对意外、过错、罪行等等负责任，那它就带有负面的语义了，像是 The bus driver was responsible for the accident. 那位公车司机要对这起意外事故负责。那第三个它可以表达造成、导致，那可以用来表达导致什么什么的原因，就像课文的用法，像我们可以说 A lightning strike was responsible for the fire. 雷击是造成那场火灾的原因。看到课文第三部分提到，研究指出橘猫通常比其他猫更友善，那这种友善可能会让它们更容易向人类讨食并获得食物。这边有两个重点，首先文中它用到 tend to be friendlier 来表达通常更友善，那么 tend to 加原形动词表示往往会怎么样，经常会怎么样。举例来说 Fried food tends to be high in calories，炸物往往热量高。好，那顺便补充一下，动词 tend 它也有照顾、照管的意思，后面就接名词。它当不及物用的话，我们常常会用 tend to somebody or something 去表达照顾、照料什么什么。举例来说 Mary loves to spend time tending to her garden. Mary 喜欢花时间照顾她的花园。另外文中它用到 more likely to 加原形动词去表达更容易怎么样。那我们来整理一下 likely 的词性以及常见的句型。首先 likely 可以当副词表示可能的，例如They will likely get married in the near future. 他们可能在不久的将来步入婚姻。Likely 也可以当形容词表达可能的，表示几率很高。那它的前面可以加上 more, less 或是 very 等等来修饰可能的程度。我们看看常用的句型有两种，第一个是 It is likely 加上 that 子句，其中的 that 可以省略不用。例如 It is highly likely that Ross will win the match.Ross 非常有可能赢得比赛。好，那第二个常用句型是主词 be likely to 加原形动词，像刚刚的例句就可以改写成 Ross is highly likely to win the match。 好，那么以上就是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Definitely. Tina and Alex are definitely going to win the game if they keep playing well and working together. Vast. Mr. Brown has a vast knowledge of history.Especially about empires and world wars. Percent. Olivia gives 10% of her pocket money to charity every month. Genetics. The doctor told Ethan that his disease might be caused by genetics. Chubby. Jason laughed when he saw the chubby puppy chasing its short tail. Temperament. Emma's friendly temperament helps her make new friends very quickly.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.